In Formula 1, you need two drivers for each team, and while some may have a friendship the fans love, others sometimes end in tears. In today's video, we take a look at our first teammate pairing, Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc. The journey together in Formula 1 only began back in 2019 when Charles Leclerc made the step up to Ferrari after a very impressive year at Sauber. Vettel had been with the team since the start of the 2015 campaign after making a switch from Red Bull on the back of winning his 4 World Championships. While Vettel was given the unofficial number 1 status, Leclerc was there to prove a point, with some even suggesting he might be in the title fight. After the opening round in Australia, it was advantage Vettel after he finished the race just over a second ahead of Leclerc in 6th. This capped off a clean sweep for Vettel as he led Leclerc in every session over the weekend. Leclerc looked on course to take his first F1 victory in Bahrain the following race as he convincingly led the race after claiming pole position over Vettel, who joined him on the front row. However, it wasn't to be for Leclerc after he lost power and had to settle for 3rd place in what was still his maiden podium. The consecutive podiums for Vettel in China and Azerbaijan gave the advantage back to the 4-time world champion, but with 4 consecutive podiums for Leclerc straight after, it would help creating an interesting power shift behind the Ferrari camp. Leclerc claimed an emotional first victory in Belgium just one day after the death of his friend Antoine Hubert in the Formula 2 feature race. While celebrations that weekend were muted, he did get to celebrate at the following race in front of the Tifosi as he won the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. This really put the pressure on Vettel to perform, with his unofficial status at number 1 coming under severe risk. A win in Singapore and a few podiums as the season came to conclusion for Vettel would mean there would be only 24 points between the two drivers as the checker flag came down in Abu Dhabi. The 2019 winner of the Ferrari teammate battle was Charles Leclerc, who finished 4th in the standings ahead of Vettel in 5th. Over the course of the season, Charles Leclerc won 2 Grand Prix in Belgium and Italy compared to Vettel's 1 in Singapore. Leclerc also picked up 10 podiums over the course of the season compared to Vettel's 9, with Leclerc picking up 7 pole positions compared to Vettel's 2. Leclerc proved himself against the 4-time world champion and looked faster than Vettel for the majority of the season. The pair will remain with the team for the 2020 season, but while the circumstances around the calendar and the schedule were complicated enough, Ferrari announced that Vettel would be leaving the team at the end of the season and would be replaced by McLaren driver Carlos Sainz, who follows the same path as his fellow countryman Fernando Alonso did for his F1 career. The car that Ferrari had for the 2020 season was, in the nicest way possible, quite underwhelming and struggled to get into Q3 in most qualifying sessions. The season was quite a few races shorter, with only 17 races able to run, which is still very impressive given the circumstances everyone found themselves in. The season started in Austria, and while the Ferrari car wasn't the best piece of machinery ever painted in red, Leclerc managed to get himself onto the podium in a season best finish of 2nd. Both cars would retire from the 2nd race in Austria, with the next big result for the team coming at the British Grand Prix, where Leclerc found himself standing on the podium once again in 3rd place. Leclerc went on a run of finishing inside the points, while Vettel was mainly outside the points until the Turkish Grand Prix, where a 3rd place finish gave him his final podium and the team's final podium of the season, before he makes a switch to Aston Martin. The 2020 teammate battle between Leclerc and Vettel was won by Charles Leclerc, who ended the season in 8th place, while Vettel finished down in 13th. Neither driver scored a race victory or even a pole position, and while Vettel only retired twice, Leclerc suffered 4 DNFs, while still outscoring Vettel by 65 points, 98 to 33. Leclerc beat Vettel in both seasons they were paired together for Ferrari. The days of Vettel fighting Hamilton seemed to be over as soon as Leclerc showed his class in Bahrain. Ferrari had to turn their focus on the young Monegasque driver, as he is seen as the future for the team. While it wasn't the most explosive driver pairings, as there are a lot of respect between the two, things did start to look shaky at one point, but between them they worked it out for the better of the team. Leclerc will have a tough ask to beat Carlos Sainz, while Vettel should feel confident against Lance Stroll. If Ferrari's 2020 car was able to fight up the front a lot more, I think the experience of Vettel might have made things a little bit more interesting and a little bit more difficult for Leclerc. Let me know in the comment section below who you thought the better driver was. If you want to read more Formula 1 content, then head over to theapexmotorsport.com for all things F1. So that's going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all so much for watching, and hope to see you all in the next one. Goodbye.